Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to Healthy Living Live. It sure has been a while. I don't think I've done a live since last year, so thank you guys so much for being here. I'm Chef AJ, and today I'm going to be interviewing Elizabeth Lee. Why am I interviewing her? Who is Elizabeth Lee? Well, mostly I like to interview doctors and such, but I've had the experience of recently interviewing almost 35 doctors for an upcoming summit called The Real Truth About Weight Loss. And it's going to be great. And I hope you guys will register. I'll provide you with a link. But I'm also working on a new book with my co-author, Glenn Merzer, called The Secrets from the Winners of the Ultimate Weight Loss Program. And I thought it'd be fun to do a series of people that actually utilized the Ultimate Weight Loss Program and had great success. Those of you that know my story know it wasn't a quick journey to success for me. I was overweight or obese for over 50 years. And even when I adopted the Ultimate Weight Loss Program, it took me 27 months to lose 47 pounds. But this story is unique and remarkable based on the speed at which the program was adopted and adhered to and the success. So I'm going to interview my guest, Elizabeth Lee. Thank you so much for coming on and talking to people.
Oh my gosh, hi. Thanks so much for having me on, HA.
You are so welcome. You have quite a success story of ultimate weight loss. When you gave the testimonial in Vegas last year, you just blew me away. How does anybody, now I know the program works. How does anybody lose that much weight so quickly? What did you do?
Oh my gosh. I just followed your program. You set it up for me, and I'm one of those all or nothing people. And it was a time in my life where I had the energy and motivation to just give it my all. I didn't mean to lose weight really, really fast. I just said, I'll do it. I'll do whatever you say. And it just happened. It came off super fast. I was very lucky.
How much weight did you lose in what time frame? Like how did you hear about the program? When did you start the program? And how did you adhere to the program?
Well, I found out about it because I was trying to be a raw vegan for a long time. And I was working with a nutritionist, and she suggested I add a potato to my dinner. And that helped me a lot. And then I realized I needed to start eating cooked foods. And so she sent me to you.
And well, bless her heart. Let me have her name after the show so I can thank her.
Yes.
More people. I wish everyone was like, you lost, was it 50 or 60 pounds in like 8 months?
60 pounds in 8 months. Yeah. It was amazing because I didn't feel like I looked like myself anymore. I didn't think I would ever feel beautiful again. And just as the months started going by, it's like my normal, natural old self started coming back again. It's thrilling. It was just thrilling. And I really did it just by joining your group, being on Facebook a lot. It's the loveliest people are in your group. And I thrive with that kind of support. And so I just did what you said, and it really works. And I have a couple of great pictures I can share if you want.
Please, because they say a picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, right? So here is a before and after for you. And
oh my, I didn't even know you when you were heavy. Wow.
Right? Yeah, I was up to about 205 pounds. And here.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'6".
Wow, that's overweight.
Sure. And so there are a couple of befores up here and a couple of afters down here.
Wow, that is so inspiring. That is so inspiring. How has losing weight affected you, either personally or professionally?
Oh, well, gosh, I have to say that I used to have terrible eczema on two of my fingers and my thumb. I had that for 5 years. They were peeling, they were bloody, they were always bandaged. I had to wear gloves doing dishes, and that's completely gone, which is amazing. I tried so many different things to heal that. And I also had plantar fasciitis, which is really painful under your feet when you're walking or standing for a long time. And that was miserable. I was in a boot for a while and on crutches, and that's completely gone too. So the health aspects are really thrilling to me also. But
how come you were able to adhere to it? So many people struggle. Like, were you just ready? Did you just already like the food? Because I don't want people to think that everybody's going to lose 60 pounds in that time frame, because I certainly did it. But what impresses me about you is you're living in a home where you're not, I don't want to say you're not being supported, because your husband is very supportive, but where the family isn't doing it, and yet you still were able to do it and stick to your food plan. What do you think was the reason?
Um, I was really ready. I was sort of in a depressed time in my life. My daughter was away at college for the first year, far away in Florida. I'm in California. And after Christmas break, when she left, I was really missing her a lot. I said, I need to dive into my life and what makes me happy. And I had a big opening. And that's exactly when I was directed to you and found you. And I said, okay. And I literally gave it my all. I mean, I put in 100%. I was on the Facebook group all the time, reading all the time, watching the YouTube videos all the time and the interviews with the doctors. And I just said, that's it. And then within a matter of 3 days, I just transitioned over and started eating potatoes and rice and salads. And I keep it very, very simple and repetitive.
So and you're not afraid to eat starch.
I'm not at all afraid. I love my potatoes. I love my rice and corn and beans and big salads. I have 2 big salads every day, followed by soup or rice or potatoes. I just keep it super simple. And your recipes make that easy. I love your barefoot dressing. I use it. I eat it twice a day. Your soups are amazing. I love your black bean soup and your cauliflower bisque. I mean, I always have something in the fridge and in the freezer so that I can grab something easily. I always have options there. And I made a deal with my husband and daughter to not bring things into the house that are tempting to me.
Nice.
If there happen to be there, I'm like, hide this. I don't know. I need to not know it's here. And that makes all the difference.
Great. Well, we have some people from UW online commenting. Jan says that you're amazing. Maxine says it's a great story and she loves the testimonials. They're so powerful. And Roz says Elizabeth is such a sweetheart and a great asset to UWL. So happy for her health transformation. And it was a health transformation. It wasn't just, for aesthetics. That's what people need to understand. And that's why we are doing the Real Truth About Weight Loss Summit.
Yeah, and my cholesterol dropped 60 points too. I forgot to mention I've always been focused on my health, and I really believe this is the healthiest way to eat. So I just remind myself of that. I don't want to get sick again. My blood pressure is nice and low. It's wonderful.
And it's not only healthiest, but it's the most humane. And you have a very unique occupation where not eating animals probably could be considered helpful in a way.
Absolutely, yes. I'm an animal communicator, so I work with animals every day and they're people. It's my passion. Other than health, animals are it for me. So, I've done this professionally for 7 years, and I always had that struggle with I didn't want to be eating animals, and yet I would sometimes do that. And so now I feel much more in alignment with my purpose and my passion, and I believe it helps me connect with them easier, and I just feel have more clarity around me because of it.
So tell me exactly what an animal communicator is. I'm a big believer. I've been going to people in your profession for years. And actually, I didn't even know that was your occupation until so many people in the group recommended I have a reading with you. And you just blew my mind and Charles's mind. So what is it you do? And how do people get a reading with you if they want to have a reading?
Well, what I do is people connect to me online and they send me photographs. And then we get on the phone or on a Zoom call. And it's like having a 3-way conversation. I get into a meditative, receptive state. And I'm very intuitive and telepathic. And it doesn't matter where you are or if your animal is still living or in spirit. And I open my heart to them and I hear where they're at and what they share things with me in words, in feelings. I can feel in my body what they're feeling, which can be really helpful if they're ill. I help people with separation anxiety with their pets, or if they're moving, or if they're wondering if their animal's ready for transition. All sorts of different calls every week, very, very different calls. But I just become a bridge so that people can have another perspective of what their pet is going through. That's what I want to do, is bring more harmony into the home between the pets and the people.
And it can be any kind of pet. It doesn't have to be just a dog or a cat, right?
Absolutely. I mostly do dogs and cats, sometimes horses. I haven't gotten a lot, sometimes birds. But yes, any animal. Absolutely. This kind of communication can happen with nature. It can even happen with nonverbal children. It's all the same.
Right. Like if I brought Bailey on screen, like, could you talk to her? and like, could
sure.
people, let me go get her. Okay, hold on. Come here, Bailey. Somebody wants it just to show. I know there's probably some people who think like, but I'm telling you guys, I've been going to people in Elizabeth's profession for years, and Elizabeth is one of the best. So here we go. So Bailey, talk to Elizabeth, or Elizabeth talk to Bailey.
She's a little sleepy.
Yep.
She's like, I'm just hanging out. What's going on?
You're on a broadcast.
Very laid back.
Well, she has this weird thing that she does. We just moved to a new home, and we have a stainless steel dishwasher. And every time I load it or unload it, she just licks the dishwasher. And I just think that's so weird. It's stainless steel. Can you ask her?
Absolutely.
Why she does it? And tell her to please stop, because I worry that, like, if somebody cleans it, that maybe she wouldn't. Yeah, that's why I worry about it.
She says she likes the texture of it, and there is a little bit of like a metallic-y taste that she likes. It's almost like a horse with a salt lick or something. Like she's showing me what it tastes like, and she just likes that. It's almost like, yeah, it tastes good.
I just hope she's not deficient in anything that's causing her to lick a dishwasher.
Yeah, let me just ask her. Let me just let her know that it could be dangerous because the cleaning materials used on it. So it'd be better if she didn't do that. She's so cute. Oh, okay, I'll try.
Oh my God, she's hilarious. So, you know, I once took a class in animal communication many years ago. Do you ever teach any classes? Because I would love to take a class with you.
Oh, yes, I love teaching. I haven't taught in about a year, but I'm just coming out actually right now with a course. That's going to be a 12-week course. It's starting in March, on March 2nd, and it's going to be an online 12-week course. I will teach you everything I know about animal communication. We'll have lots of one-on-one time and time for experiencing and learning. I wanted to make it a nice long class, and it's going to be on Zoom. And gosh, I'd love to have you join us, AJ. It's going to be super.
I'm gonna put a link to your website, which is, I love the name of your website, by the way, becomingdrdolittle.com. So people want to register for the class, or if they just want a reading, because they can live anywhere. Like you're looking at Bailey, but people can live anywhere, right?
Absolutely. I do readings all over the place, anywhere. It doesn't matter. And you don't have to be on Zoom like this with your animal. I can do it just from a picture, but it's always fun to have the animal around. It helps, and it's really fun to see them.
That would be, you must love your job. I can't think of anything better than working with animals.
Well, I love it because it gives me a chance to really connect with the animal kingdom. And I have allergies, so I've always wanted to work with animals, but I've never been able to. And so this came in for me as a possibility years and years ago, and it's so satisfying and fulfilling to help people. You know, people go through such hard times with their pets and don't always have someone to really talk it through with and understand and help. And I love providing that for people. It's very, very fulfilling and sweet work. I'm filled.
That's so interesting that you work with animals, but you're allergic to them. I know I used to know a lady that worked at See's Candy, and she was diabetic. So that's kind of funny that you did that. So do you have any stories, like really unusual ones, of animals you talked to, or like, did they ever like tell secrets of like, oh, my mom is seeing the cable guy, you know?
So, you know, people really worry about that. It really cracks me up. That has never happened, but I do have a couple of stories that I'd be happy to share that just kind of show how magical this can be, which makes me so excited. I like to work at psychic fairs sometimes that are hosted at churches and things like that. And I met a woman at one there who showed me a picture of her dog who had passed recently. And her son was having a really hard time missing his favorite golden retriever. So I connected with the golden retriever. And what she said to me was she was an angel on her son's shoulder now. And the woman said, oh my gosh, my son just designed his first tattoo, and they're angel wings on his shoulder that are dedicated to his dog. So it showed me that the dog really knew that and wanted him to know that she was aware that he had done that for her. And those kind of messages are just so heartwarming, you know.
That is so cool. I think if I was an animal communicator, I'd like, I'd love to work for the police, like crime scene, so that the pets could say who done it,
Yes. Some people do that. I've heard stories of animal it comes through every animal communicator differently. I do a lot of sort of the spiritual work with the animals that have passed over and want to help their people heal the grief that they're still feeling from the passing. But everybody has their specialty. I worked with a woman last fall who was really distraught because her cat was an amazing hunter, and he would go outside every day and bring animals back to her, largish animals. He was an amazing hunter. And she said, I just can't, it broke her heart every time he would bring her these dead animals. So we had a really serious conversation with him. And we asked him, do you want to be a domestic cat, or would you rather live outside down the road at this farm where her friends lived who were willing to take him? And we let him choose. And he chose to be domestic, and he stopped bringing animals home to her like that.
Wow, that's amazing that they can learn. Have you ever connected with any animals that were like in feedlots and the horror that they go through, or you're not able to do that because they're not your client?
I've never had a client like that. I had someone reach out to a number of communicators, including me, wanting information like that. And I chose to pass because I felt like my own personal feelings would get in the way of a clear communication, because I have such sadness around the suffering of those animals.
Right, right. Do you ever talk to like insects? Are they considered animals? Like, because
Yeah.
I have a cricket in my house, so can you ask him to to go outside, please? Or can I just do that? Do I just say, excuse me?
You can. Sometimes the animals, it's like a mass mind for the animals. I don't do a lot with bugs, but with your cricket, what you could do is send him an image of getting outside, of going outside of, through where however they would through your home. That's how we communicate, is telepathically through pictures. So if there is a behavior that your pet is doing you don't like, rather than focusing on that, try to come up with the mental image of them doing something else to replace it, and remind them that's what you would like to see from them. Same with the cricket, and that's how we get the idea across.
Well, that's like with anything, focusing on what you want instead of what you don't want.
Absolutely. And it's just a trap we get into. So sometimes we have to remind ourselves to not keep thinking about, the cat peeing in the corner over there, and give them alternatives.
So you're psychic, you're intuitive. Can regular people learn this? Because Christelle just said, I just started working at an animal natural health shop. Your course would come in handy. I'll check it out. So can just a regular person learn how to communicate with their animals if they don't have special psychic powers?
Absolutely. I think it's innate for all of us, honestly, AJ. We all have a sixth sense, and it's about focusing on it and developing it. And if anyone at all is attracted to it, I think personally that shows that they'd be good at it. I mean, not everyone is good at every profession. Not everyone's designed to be a lawyer or a teacher or a dentist. But this is something we have innate within us. And if we're interested in it, then it's something that can be developed. Absolutely. No doubt.
That's really cool. If you guys have any questions for Elizabeth, either about her weight loss or about her course or how to do animal readings, please post them and I'll read them to her right now. So it's a 12-week course. Is it a certain day of the week? Like every week we meet at a certain time? Because I'm thinking about taking it because it sounds really great.
Yeah, it's going to be every Saturday. I think there's one that we're going to move to a different day, but mostly every Saturday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific time. For an hour, about an hour and a half, probably depends on how it develops, but probably an hour and a half every Saturday morning for 12 weeks. And it's a pilot program. It's the first time I've created this specific program. So I'm keeping the cost really low, and I'm keeping it sort of small as well. So if you're interested, please let me know. And I'll put up a special code for your viewers, AJ, if you'd like.
That would be amazing. I think your husband is watching, so if he knows it, he could even post it right now. That would be really cool. Or if people could even, just get a reading just to see if they resonate with your work. I mean, they'll love the reading. It was Myra, who is another ultimate weight loss success story, that said, because I already had an animal communicator and I still love her and everything. He says, you got to try Elizabeth. And I'm like, wow, it was just really fun, the stuff you were saying.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, like you said,
Yeah.
maybe because it was like, yeah, it was just, it's just always fun talking to our pets. I mean, I wish they could talk. So here's a question that Cynthia has for you about the weight loss. How did you fight the cravings for sweets? Or if you were a Diet Coke drinker, how did you fight that?
Well, I wasn't a Diet Coke drinker because I'd been on the path of being a raw vegan for 4 years. I wasn't very successful, but that was my focus of doing that and doing a lot of juicing, which I don't do either of those anymore. But the cravings, it was really wonderful because within the first week of adopting your diet, AJ, there were no cravings. I eat huge amounts of food, huge amounts. I mean, more than I ate before. And so I got a feeling of satisfaction, which I was not having before. And so I don't know how else to say it, but to feed yourself enough, like my salads are enormous and I put a lot of things in them and I sequence like you suggest. So the first thing I eat is salad and I eat my first meal at 12. Big salad before anything else. And then after that, enough starch till I feel full, which is going to be rice or soup or potatoes in some form. And then I don't snack really until dinner. And I eat a ton of food. But I sincerely, your cravings go away once you eat enough starch because the brain just calms down.
Nice. How come animals don't have food addictions or addictions like us? I mean, unless they're in somebody forced them upon it. They just don't.
Well, I don't know. Some of the processed animal food, I think if it was available more to animals, they would overeat.
Right.
But we really luckily are able to only give them enough that they need. But I think they would overeat, and I've certainly seen animals overweight before.
Right. Generally, at least from when I've seen animals overweight, you look up the leash, and usually the owner's overweight. It's right. At least what my veterinarian, he's been a vet for 45 years, has said his experience has been. So Maxine says her dog has become very attached to her since her other dog passed away. Should she be worried?
Oh, I wouldn't be worried so much as just giving your other dog some extra time and attention. The other animals really grieve too when this happens, and it can just be an adjustment period for them. I wouldn't really worry. It's a very natural process, and they're feeling it the way you are as well. Sometimes our animals will mirror what we're going through as well. So, if Maxine, if you're having a particularly hard time, your other dog is picking up on that too and probably wanting to be close to you to support you as well.
Nice. Jennifer says, I have had several readings with Elizabeth, and she is completely genuine and wonderful with a heart. So, we're talking about two things today, which is kind of fun. Pat says, how did you manage nuts? It's so controversial now because we've got that wonderful 5-part series that Jeff Nelson put on Veg Source, where he's not telling people not to eat nuts. He's just showing that the research is flawed. And Pat says animals do get fat. Yes, that's true, but not if they're fed their natural diet. So how do you manage nuts?
I don't eat them at all.
That's how I manage them too.
I was never a big nut person. If I had some nuts, I'd have a lot of nuts at one time. And that's how it is with all those foods that I don't eat anymore. It's like I look at them and I don't want one. I don't want a handful. I want the whole whatever bag. Right. So nuts don't speak to me the way other sweet treats used to really speak to me. And I've always kind of understood that nuts are so full of fat. I don't want to get near. It's honestly not worth it. Now that I can see my collarbones, and I can wear the clothes that make me feel good and I can feel pretty again. I mean, I honestly didn't think I would ever get back in the shape that I'm in again. And
you must be so proud, and your husband is so happy. I know he has a young, beautiful wife. I've heard him mention that. Maxine says, thank you. Cynthia says she finds that after she's eating good whole foods, she feels strangely satisfied, but then there is an immediate larger craving for something sweet, even if it's a piece of toast and jam, a bowl of cereal. Did that happen to you?
That didn't happen to me. Yeah, I think that's something you have to just fight through until it fades after time. Dr. Lyle talks about this a lot in his videos, how the more you just say, no, we're not going to do that. No, we're not going to do that. Eventually it will go extinct, but you have to live through that week or 10 days of it calling to you.
Right. I also wonder if she's eating salt or having caffeine, because both of those can actually cause sweet cravings. So back to the animals, we've got a question from Jan, who is in UWL, who's doing really well. She says her cat has feline HIV. The vet told me that I will know when it's time to let him go. How will I know? He seems happy. Yeah, that's just a great question in general. Like, how do we know when it's time? Do they tell us?
Yeah, when I talk to the animals, I get a lot of calls with this particular question. Is my animal ready to transition? And if they're not ready at that time, we have a conversation about how could you let your person know when you are ready? Like, we discuss it so that the person will be clear that they'll be able to receive that message. It depends on the animal. Sometimes they'll stop doing their natural behaviors, or they'll stop eating. Sometimes when you look at their eyes, they will tell you through their eyes. How it's different for each person with their relationship with their pet, but that's something we talk about all the time and help people with, because it's such an excruciating time where you don't want your animal to keep suffering and you don't want to take action if they're not ready. So that's one of my favorite calls to have, actually, is to help people at that time. Give them support. There is who else can you go to talk to at a time like that than your vet?
Nobody. Why does it seem so much harder to get over the loss of our pets sometimes than even our friends and family?
Because they love you so unconditionally.
Yeah.
It's like, it's the secret language that you have with them that is unconditional, that we don't have with other humans. They touch our heart in a way that humans don't. They get in there and in their own place. That's so special.
Well, why do they have to have such short lives? I mean, other than, say, turtles and maybe parrots, I mean, it's very rare for a dog or cat to live 20 years. Why? I mean, can't you do something about this?
Yeah, they have a lot of life compacted into fewer years. Part of that is that they get to be in a lot of different lifetimes. Our lifetime's longer and slower, but they get to have a lot of different experiences. And sometimes they'll come back to their people in another form. Sometimes they won't, and that's their only time. But those are some conversations we can have also.
Yeah, I think getting over a pet loss is one of the hardest things in the world. But in your course, are you going to address that at all to help us with that?
Absolutely. Healing the grief that people have from their loss of their pets is one of the things I care most about. And I did a course called Grief to Gratitude, which is a free bonus, actually, when you sign up for my course. That's one of the things I love to do when we do a session connecting with an animal and spirit. We can, we can heal that grief, because we can now have a new relationship with them. Whereas sometimes we get stuck in the last few days of their life, how hard it was, and those visuals are still in our mind. So I love to work with people to help heal that. And I often suggest to people who are missing their animals to call them in before they go to bed at night. I do this a lot with my animal. I call them in to be with me, and then I can feel them around me, and it's very, very soothing and loving, because their spirit is still accessible to you. And the physical is gone, which is so hard, but their spirit is never gone. So have you
ever had an animal that just didn't want to talk to you and they just wouldn't?
Yeah, sometimes if they're on medication, it's very hard to talk to them because they're really out of it. And sometimes I'll get an animal who's a little bit not ready to talk or upset, and then they come to me like this, where they're not looking at me, they're kind of turning to the side. And then I'll talk to the other animal in the family or talk to the person more, and eventually they tend to come around and we'll share. But sure, I've had some that are hesitant, but most often they're like, what are we doing? What are you here for? They're usually not hesitant, and I swear they do not share your secrets.
Yeah, that's good. Well, we have some fans of yours watching. Tracy says she loves Elizabeth's animal communication skills. She's helped my animals for years. Lauren says she's fascinated. She says one of her dogs was vaccinated when she should not have been too early. Vet tech did not confer with us. Since then, she scratches and bites for hours at night. Tried many things, nothing helps. Could a consult with you help?
Wow. Yeah, I am a Reiki master, so during a lot of my sessions, I run energy work myself, and also I have an energetic support team of my guides that come through and do healing work also. That's kind of part of the readings naturally, is we're running energy. And it has been helpful with some animals with itching problems, where I've been able to pull out whatever the inflammation was, and I've had some success with that. So we could certainly try. We can also talk to her and see what she's going through herself, and we can explain to her that we think that it might have been the shots that has led to this discomfort. So sometimes it's like talking to children that just don't have all the pieces of what's happening in the family with, and so sometimes talking to them about it will help them relax and understand what's happening better.
Right. One of your clients says hi, Bean Wood, and Tracy says, Elizabeth helped us so much when it was time for our beloved family dog to cross over. Oh, it's the worst day of people's lives, I'll tell you. So back to a food question from Pat. I give my omnivores vegan food of various kinds. How do you feed your family and friends in line with your eating values?
Oh, well, I'm not the cook in the family. My husband is a great cook, and so he cooks for himself and our daughter when she's here. And I cook for myself. And I don't cook food other than my own, really.
Yep.
I'm very lucky that way.
I agree with that. I've been vegan 41 years. I never gave any, I would never, just like I wouldn't buy cigarettes for somebody or alcohol. I'm not going to give people meat or pay for it or have it in my house. So very good. Have you, how do you feel, I've interviewed the vegan vet, our Mighty May, is a very strong advocate for plant-based diets, at least for dogs. Do you ever talk to dogs or cats, do they mind being vegan, or do they wish like they weren't? Because I've never been able to force my dogs to be vegan because I've always adopted them late in life and they sort of had their taste set. So I give them as little animal products as possible so they'll eat all the other vegan food I give them, the sweet potatoes and rice and carrots and vegan kibble. But how do animals feel about that? Or have you talked to any of them?
Yeah, the animals talk a lot about their food, and the people call me a lot about food issues with their pets. Of course, cats cannot be vegan, but with the dogs, we haven't had a lot of conversations about veganism per se, but the animals do share with me whether they like their food or not and sort of why, which can be an interesting conversation. I suggest people go as healthy as they can with their pets' foods because it can make a huge difference in their health. Of course, just like ours, it makes no difference. There's a lot of junk food out there for the animals too, which I think over the next few years will become more obvious to people. But I see animals with really good diets living much longer than the ones that don't.
Just like people, like Dr. Ellsworth Wareham, who made it to, I think, almost 105 vegan for most of his life. That's incredible. So anything else you want to tell people about either your course or your readings or your weight loss, which is just so inspiring. Let's not forget that. And how long has it been since you've maintained this weight loss? Because, everybody can lose weight, but are you maintaining it pretty easily? Is it hard?
It's harder when you get to where you want to be. That's the time it gets harder, honestly, because you don't have the same exact motivation that you had before, because now you're there. And of course, the pattern in the past, I've lost weight twice. I've lost this amount of weight before, but brought it back because once I got there, I started eating the same old way I had before. This time I'm not eating the same old way before. And I'm recognizing that my motivation has to be even stronger now to stay like this. And like you guys say, you have to have a why that makes you cry. And my why is wanting to be a really healthy, fit, active grandmother one day when my 20-year-old is married and has kids. I want to be that grandmother for them. And that's why that makes me cry. So I just keep focusing on that and tell myself that it's worth it. Because I love the food. It's delicious. And
It
I
is
love, I
delicious.
love how I feel when I eat this way.
Right,
So
I know it's the best reason. Diane says she loves you. I'm assuming you, not me, but whoever you love. Thank you so much. How come animals are so forgiving? I mean, I don't get it. Like will you teach? I want to take this course because Saturday mornings is actually a really good time for me.
oh, good.
Except for like if I'm traveling one day, can you make it up? Can you
Oh,
like,
yeah.
is there, yeah.
Everything's going to be recorded and sent out to you right afterwards. So if you, I know 12 weeks is a long span of time, so I'm sure people won't be able to make everyone live. So yes, that'll be recorded and sent out, no problem. And you'll also have unlimited access to me through email that whole time. So if there are issues coming up or you need any help, you can always email me. And I have a private Facebook group for the members of the class so that we can share with each other and get to know each other and support each other as we're opening and expanding to these new concepts.
That sounds like just such a fun class. I wonder if Myra, if you're still watching, Myra, if you take it, I'll take it for sure. It would be really fun to do that. And again, if you're on the fence, just have a reading with Elizabeth and see and get blown away. I had no idea you were a Reiki master. I'm the biggest fan of Reiki. On my TV show Healthy Living with Chef AJ, episode 107, I had my Reiki master as a guest, and I've been getting Reiki at least once a month for probably 15 years. It's, Reiki and Doug Lyle are the two things that keep me sane. So that's great.
Yeah, and the animals they're more open than humans are to Reiki. They take it in like a sponge. So a little bit of energy work with the animals while we're talking or before or after our conversation can go a long way.
That's great. That's great. So if you guys don't have any more questions for Elizabeth, I'm going to say thank you so much for talking about your success. And Elizabeth is one of many people that's going to be featured in an upcoming book tentatively called The Secrets from the Winners of Ultimate Weight Loss. Myra did 3 lips, but she didn't say if she's going to take the class. So congratulations on being such a rock star for this way of eating and living, and for all you do for people and animals.
Oh, thank you, AJ. Thank you so much.
Oh my God, it's my pleasure. And thank you guys for watching another episode of Healthy Living Live. If you're interested in the course, I've posted the website, and I really do think I am going to take it. So take care, everyone, and we'll talk soon.
Bye.